Imagine waking up one day to find that everything you have built, everything you have achieved, is starting to feel empty. You rise from your bed, look at your reflection in the mirror, and for the first time in your life, you don't recognize the person staring back at you. It's not that your face has changed. It's not the lines around your eyes or the tiredness in your expression. No, what's different is the weight of the realization that you have been living someone else's life. You've been following the script others wrote for you. You've been playing a role that society designed, molded by expectations, desires, and the demands of family, work, and culture. You followed the well-worn paths that others paved, and now, here you are, successful, perhaps, in the eyes of the world, yet utterly hollow inside. How did you get here? And, more urgently, how do you get out? This is the paradox of modern existence. You have everything, possessions, achievements, status, and yet, you feel you have nothing. Nothing that matters, nothing that brings fulfillment. You've been fed the promise of happiness through accomplishment, love, and social recognition, but deep down, you know something is missing. The hunger gnaws at you, and you realize that all the success, all the accolades, have failed to satisfy your deepest need, the need to become the fullest, most authentic version of yourself. But here's the twist. What if everything you've been taught about achieving happiness is a lie? What if the very paths we've been following, those of wealth, status, and conventional success, are not only insufficient but actively keeping us from the life we crave? This is where Nietzsche's concept of the Overman comes into play. But before you dismiss it as another esoteric philosophy, take a moment to ponder this. What if becoming the ultimate version of yourself requires you to break free from every convention, every belief, and every structure you've been raised to accept? What if it means embracing something radically different, something that might terrify you but also liberate you? Friedrich Nietzsche, in his profound and unsettling ideas, challenges us to rethink everything. The Overman, or Übermensch, represents a person who has transcended the limits of conventional thinking, societal morality, and cultural norms. The Overman does not merely accept life as it is. Instead, they create their own meaning, shape their own values, and live according to their highest potential. But here's the catch. The Overman does not simply appear out of thin air. To become this version of yourself, you must undergo a brutal process of transformation. It's not about following a set of rules or imitating someone else. It's about breaking down everything you thought you knew and then building something entirely new from the rubble. So, the question remains, how do you become the Overman? How do you step into a reality where you live in full alignment with your truest self, free from the chains of society's expectations? The path is not easy, nor is it comfortable. It requires you to confront your deepest fears, your insecurities, and the lies you've told yourself. It demands a complete rethinking of who you are, why you are here, and what you want out of life. Most people will never take this step. Most will continue living in the illusion of comfort, pursuing fleeting pleasures, and clinging to false securities. But you are different. You are asking the hard questions. You are ready to confront the chaos of existence head-on and embrace the challenge of becoming something more. The question now is, are you willing to endure the pain of transformation to become the ultimate version of yourself? Are you prepared to abandon the comfortable illusions and face the truth of who you are meant to be? As Nietzsche says, he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. But the question is, do you know your why yet? The world around you is full of noise, voices telling you what to do, how to think, what to want. From the moment you are born, you are bombarded with an endless stream of societal expectations. You must conform to family traditions, obey social norms, follow educational paths, and work toward financial success. There's an invisible force guiding you, steering you through life without your consent. This force, society's collective assumptions and the inherited framework of beliefs, is what keeps you locked in the cage of mediocrity. But what if that very framework is flawed? What if the life you've been chasing isn't even your own, but a carefully constructed illusion? A mirage designed to keep you tethered to a system that thrives on conformity, not individuality? And what if, deep down, you are aware of this, and yet, you can't break free? This struggle is not new. In fact, It has been explored by some of the greatest minds in philosophy, psychology, and literature. Carl Jung, for instance, spoke of the persona, the mask we wear to fit into society, the self that we show the world, which is often a far cry from our true essence. This mask is not inherently malicious. It is a survival mechanism, one that allows us to function within the structures of family, work, and culture. But as Jung warned, if we identify too strongly with the persona, we risk losing touch with our authentic selves. The deeper we sink into the persona, the more disconnected we become from our true potential. Friedrich Nietzsche, ever the provocateur, took this idea to its most radical extreme. He saw the persona not just as a mask but as a prison, a structure that confines us to a life of mediocrity and stagnation. According to Nietzsche, we are born into a world that imposes values upon us, the values of religion, morality, and social convention. These values are not our values, they are the inherited beliefs of a society that seeks to control and standardize the individual. Nietzsche referred to this societal grip as the slave morality, a system that praises humility, submission, and self-sacrifice while suppressing creativity, individuality, and power. The problem is that most of us don't even realize we are living according to these rules. We've internalized them so deeply that they become our very sense of reality. But what happens when you begin to question these values? What happens when you realize that the life you've been living is not truly your own? That's where the crisis begins. This is where the great philosophical battle takes place, within the self. You are faced with a choice. Do you continue to live according to the blueprint given to you, or do you cast aside these chains and forge your own path? Nietzsche's answer lies in the concept of the Übermensch, or the Overman. The Overman is not someone who merely adapts to society's rules or accepts the limitations imposed by religion, culture, or tradition. The Overman is someone who creates their own values, their own sense of purpose, and their own path forward. The Overman lives authentically, free from the constraints of inherited morality. This requires a complete transformation, a process of becoming, not just existing. But this process is not easy. It is deeply uncomfortable, even painful. It requires you to face the very core of your being, to confront the illusions you've held for so long, and to destroy the parts of you that are simply reflections of society's demands. To understand why this is so difficult, we must look at the psychological roots of the problem. As Viktor Frankl, the renowned psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, once said, the greatest freedom that humans possess is the ability to choose their attitude in any given set of circumstances. But what Frankl highlights is the fundamental challenge: we often don't feel free. Our minds are shaped by external forces, from childhood experiences to the pervasive influence of media, education, and family. We are conditioned to conform, to obey, to follow the prescribed path. We are told that success means stability, that happiness is found in security, and that fulfillment is achieved through societal approval. But is it really? Or has this conditioned mindset kept us trapped in a cycle of quiet desperation? Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly alive, truly yourself? When was the last time you felt unburdened by the expectations of others, free to follow your own desires, no matter how unconventional or unsettling they may be? The key to breaking free lies in recognizing the extent to which our lives are dictated by these invisible forces. This is not just a philosophical or moral issue, it is a psychological one. The brain, ever the creature of habit, clings to what is familiar. Even if that familiarity is suffocating, we continue to live within it because it feels safe. The fear of the unknown, the discomfort of stepping outside the norm, holds us back. And it is this fear, rooted in both evolutionary survival instincts and psychological conditioning, that makes the journey to becoming the Overman so daunting. Yet, despite these barriers, the transformation is possible. The Overman does not reject the self, rather, they transcend it. They break free from the shackles of convention and move toward a life that is not defined by external expectations, but by an internal sense of purpose. To become the Overman, you must first confront the core of who you are, not just a version of you that fits into society's mold, but the raw, unfiltered version that exists beneath the surface. You must question everything you thought you knew, dismantle your beliefs, and rebuild yourself according to your own highest values. The question now is, will you remain trapped in the web of societal conditioning, or will you have the courage to challenge it? Will you allow the psychological forces that hold you back to dictate the course of your life, or will you defy them and step into the freedom of becoming the Overman? The choice is yours. The world you live in is more than just a backdrop for your life. It's a web of unseen forces, forces that influence you in ways you barely understand. From the way you think, to the choices you make, to the very desires that drive you, these hidden forces shape your life with a precision you cannot fathom. But it's not just societal norms or cultural expectations that manipulate you, it's something deeper, more insidious, lying in the very wiring of your brain. Have you ever wondered why you always seem to gravitate toward comfort? Why the idea of change, even if it means a better life, fills you with anxiety? Why, despite knowing that you should take a risk, you choose the safe, familiar path? This tendency is not just a flaw or a personal weakness, it's an evolutionary trait. Your brain is hardwired for survival, and survival means sticking with the known, the predictable, and the safe. But this instinctive preference for the status quo, for the things that feel comfortable, comes at a steep price. It keeps you from becoming the person you are truly meant to be. This is the unseen consequence of living according to societal expectations. The unconscious forces shaping your thoughts and behavior are not merely abstract concepts. They are tangible, biological, neurological realities that have a profound impact on the choices you make. Your brain, for all its complexity, is designed to keep you within the confines of your comfort zone. It is a brilliant organ, but it has a bias toward familiarity. This is why the Overman, this ideal of self-overcoming and radical transformation, is such a rare and elusive figure. To become the Overman, you must first confront this deeply ingrained resistance within yourself, a resistance built into the very architecture of your brain. Neurological science provides a glimpse into this resistance. The brain's default mode network, DMN, is the neural system responsible for maintaining a sense of self, identity, and continuity. This system is like a mental anchor, ensuring that you remain consistent with who you believe yourself to be. But this consistency, as comforting as it is a prison. It keeps you locked in a cycle of repeating patterns and thoughts, resistant to change. Every time you try to break free, the DMN pulls you back, reinforcing your sense of who you are and how you should behave. It doesn't matter how conscious you are of this pattern, it operates beneath your awareness, quietly and persistently maintaining the status quo. Consider this: how many times have you tried to change a habit, only to find yourself slipping back into old behaviors, even when you knew those habits weren't serving you? This is not just a matter of willpower or motivation, it's your brain working against you. The brain has a preference for familiar neural pathways, for the habits and beliefs that have been ingrained over a lifetime. Breaking free from these mental pathways requires conscious effort and radical intervention. It's no wonder that most people remain stuck, unable to push through the resistance and into the transformation that would truly unlock their potential. The same resistance can be seen in society at large. Look at the world around you. How many people do you know who are stuck? They've conformed to societal expectations, followed the well-worn paths, and yet they remain deeply unfulfilled. Their lives may appear successful on the surface, but beneath it all, there's a subtle despair. They are living out roles that were assigned to them, not roles they chose for themselves. They have become the product of cultural conditioning, shaped by the external forces that influence their thoughts, desires, and actions. But here's the kicker: they don't even realize it. They are walking through life on autopilot, guided by invisible hands they cannot see. This is the silent power of the unseen consequences. Society's norms and the brain's instinctive resistance work together to keep you from becoming the Overman. But the real danger lies in how deeply these forces influence your perception of reality. The longer you remain within the comfortable bounds of societal expectations and mental inertia, the less you are able to see the world as it truly is. You become numb to your potential, blind to the possibilities that lie just beyond your comfort zone. It's not just about achieving more or gaining success. It's about awakening to the vastness of your own existence, seeing beyond the veil of convention to the world of untapped potential that exists within you. The Overman is someone who has broken free of this mental and societal cage. They have moved beyond the limitations that bind most people, not through extraordinary intelligence or ability, but through sheer willpower, the courage to face discomfort, and a relentless pursuit of authenticity. And here's the most unsettling truth of all: if you do not begin to challenge these forces, if you do not push against the ingrained resistance within you and the external expectations imposed by society, you will continue to live a life dictated by other people's rules. You will remain in the prison of conformity, believing you are free when, in reality, you are anything but. This is the unseen consequence of living a life of unconscious compliance. The longer you remain in this state, the harder it becomes to break free. The resistance becomes stronger, more deeply ingrained in your psyche, until one day, you look back and realize that you've never truly lived. You've merely existed. The question now is, how long will you allow these forces to control your life? How long will you allow your brain's default programming and society's expectations to dictate who you are and what you can become? The Overman is not bound by these invisible chains. They have seen the truth, that the greatest obstacle standing between you and your full potential is not the world around you, but the beliefs, habits, and limitations that live within you. But to transcend them, to break free from the cage, requires more than just insight. It requires action. It requires you to step outside the comfortable boundaries of who you think you are and venture into the unknown, to risk everything for the sake of your own evolution. Are you ready to make that leap? To break through the resistance and embrace the path of the Overman? Only you can decide. The chains are heavy, but they are invisible. You feel their weight every time you hesitate, every time you doubt yourself, every time you choose comfort over growth. The resistance within you, that quiet voice urging you to stay in your lane, to keep following the rules, is powerful. It comes from deep within, fueled by centuries of cultural conditioning and biological instinct. But here's the truth: you can break free. It won't be easy, and it won't be comfortable. In fact, it will be one of the most difficult things you will ever do. But there is a path forward, a way to escape the invisible prison you've been living in. The Overman does not wait for permission to become who they are meant to be. The Overman rebels. And rebellion, in this case, is not about fighting against the world directly. It's about fighting against the most powerful adversary you will ever face, your own mind. To break free, you must first realize that everything you've been taught about success, fulfillment, and happiness is a lie. Society tells you that to be happy, you must fit into a mold, that you must align yourself with certain ideals and expectations. But in truth, this societal programming is designed to suppress your potential. It keeps you from creating your own values, from forging your own path. And the more you chase the hollow promises of societal success, the more you lose sight of who you truly are. In this moment, you stand at the edge of a precipice. The life you've been living, the choices you've been making, the version of yourself that you've been presenting to the world, they are not you. They are the product of external influences, cultural pressures, and your brain's automatic reactions to fear and discomfort. But the good news is that you have the power to change this. The first step is awareness. You must see the forces that have shaped you, the invisible hands that have been pulling your strings. This means understanding that the default mindset you operate from, one driven by fear, social conformity, and the pursuit of external validation, is not your own. It's been programmed into you, and it's holding you back. The moment you recognize this, the moment you realize that everything you've been conditioned to believe is not the ultimate truth, you've already taken the first step toward rebellion. The second step is discomfort. The Overman does not shy away from discomfort, they embrace it. Every moment of discomfort you experience is a signal that you are breaking free from the chains that have bound you. Your brain's resistance to change, that fear of uncertainty and failure, is simply a natural reaction to stepping into the unknown. But here's the secret: it's not your job to eliminate that fear, it's your job to move forward in spite of it. Every time you feel that discomfort rise within you, whether it's the fear of rejection, the anxiety of stepping out of your comfort zone, or the urge to give up when things get hard, you must lean into it. This is the moment when true transformation occurs. When you face your fear head-on, you prove to yourself that you are more than the sum of your conditioned responses. You are not just a creature of habit, a prisoner of your own biology and societal expectations. You are a force capable of change, a creator of your own destiny. Look at history, and you'll see countless examples of those who broke free from the chains of society's expectations. The rebels, the ones who challenged the status quo, the ones who had the courage to live authentically, they became the Overmen. Think of people like Albert Einstein, who defied conventional thinking and reshaped our understanding of the universe. Think of artists like Vincent van Gogh, who created masterpieces that defied society's expectations of beauty and form. Think of thinkers like Nietzsche, who dared to envision a world beyond traditional morality and societal constraints. These individuals didn't follow the script, they rewrote it. You, too, have the ability to rewrite your script. But to do so, you must first be willing to confront the fear and resistance within you. This means letting go of the need for approval, for comfort, and for security. It means accepting that the path forward is uncertain, that the road to becoming the Overman is not straight or predictable. In fact, it is likely to be messy, chaotic, and full of challenges. But it is yours. The third step is action. Breaking free from your own mind's limitations requires more than just awareness and acceptance. It requires action, bold, uncomfortable, and relentless action. The Overman does not wait for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or the approval of others. They move forward regardless of the circumstances, fueled by their inner vision of who they want to become. This means you must take intentional steps every day to challenge your current way of being. Start by identifying the areas in your life where you feel stuck or restricted. Is it in your career? Your relationships? Your personal habits? The Overman recognizes that stagnation is the enemy of growth, and they actively seek to push themselves beyond their limits. They do not settle for mediocrity. They do not settle for anything less than their highest potential. Take small, yet powerful steps. Start that project you've been putting off. Speak your truth in a conversation where you've been holding back. Challenge the beliefs that you've unconsciously accepted as gospel truth. It is in these small rebellions, these seemingly insignificant actions, that true freedom begins. You may stumble. You may fall. The road will not be easy. But that is the price of transformation. The Overman does not shy away from failure, they learn from it. They see every misstep as an opportunity to grow stronger, more resilient, and more authentic. Remember, the rebellion is not against the world outside you. It is a rebellion against the forces within you that have been holding you back. The mind that tells you to stay safe, to follow the rules, to conform. The societal norms that limit your vision of what is possible. The fears that keep you tethered to the past. The Overman embraces this rebellion as a natural part of their journey. They know that to live authentically, to transcend the limitations of conventional existence, they must break free from the constraints of the mind and the world. This is not an easy path, but it is the only path to becoming the fullest version of yourself. So, the question is, are you ready to rebel? To step into the unknown, to challenge your deepest fears, and to take action toward your own transformation? The choice is yours. But remember this, the Overman does not wait for the world to change. They create the change they wish to see. Are you ready to take that first step? The road you've walked is long, winding, and filled with uncertainty. The doubts you've faced, the resistance you've battled, and the fears you've overcome, they've all been part of the process. But now, at this pivotal moment, you stand on the brink of something profound. You've seen the invisible forces that have shaped your life, you've recognized the chains that have kept you tethered to mediocrity, and you've begun the rebellion against everything that has held you back. But here's the most unsettling, yet liberating truth, the journey does not end here. In fact, it's only just beginning. The Overman is not a destination, it is a constant process of becoming. It is not a fixed point on the horizon, but a way of moving through the world. You will never truly arrive at perfection, and that is precisely the point. The Overman is not someone who has mastered the art of life, but someone who is always in the process of mastering themselves. But what does this truly mean? How do you live as the Overman once you've broken free from the shackles of societal expectations and psychological conditioning? What is the ultimate truth that the Overman understands and embraces? The ultimate truth is this: life is chaos, and only by embracing that chaos can you truly become the creator of your own existence. This is not a comforting idea, nor is it an easy one to accept. You have been conditioned to seek order, structure, and stability. The very idea of embracing chaos, the unknown, the unpredictable, the wild, might make your stomach churn. But the Overman understands that chaos is not something to fear. It is the raw material from which all creation comes. Consider the natural world. It is filled with disorder, storms, wildfires, unpredictable forces that seem to tear apart the very fabric of reality. And yet, from this chaos, new life emerges. A forest burns, and in its place, new trees grow. The storm passes, and the earth is left fertile for new possibilities. The Overman embraces life in the same way. They do not seek to control or suppress the chaos of existence. They dance with it, create with it, and ultimately, shape it into something meaningful. The chaos of life is not something you can escape. You cannot avoid uncertainty, change, or pain. These forces are inherent to existence. But here is the beauty of it all: you do not need to escape it. Instead, you must learn to live within it. You must learn to create within it. This is the power of the Overman, the ability to thrive in the face of chaos, to create meaning out of the mess, to build something beautiful from the destruction. This is the ultimate truth that you must come to terms with: you are not the passive recipient of life's circumstances. You are the creator. You are the artist of your own existence. You are the one who shapes meaning, purpose, and value from the raw materials that life presents to you. The Overman does not ask for permission to live authentically, they demand it. They do not wait for external validation or societal approval. They create their own path, regardless of the consequences. This realization will not come easily. It will take courage, resilience, and a willingness to embrace discomfort at every step. It will require you to let go of your attachment to safety, security, and the approval of others. It will require you to face the darkness within you, the fears, the insecurities, and the doubts, and use them as fuel for your transformation. But once you make this shift, once you fully embrace the chaos of life and the power within you to create your own meaning, the world will never look the same again. And so, the question is no longer whether you can become the Overman. The question is, are you willing to embrace the chaos and become the creator of your own life? This is the final truth that the Overman knows, that life is not something to be endured or survived. Life is to be created. It is a work of art, and you are the artist. The canvas may be messy, but it is yours to paint. The world may be uncertain, but it is yours to shape. The Overman does not wait for the world to change. They change the world by changing themselves. They see through the illusions of society, rise above the fears of their own minds, and take action to live authentically, courageously, and unapologetically. And so, as you stand at the edge of this transformation, remember, the journey is not about reaching an endpoint. It is about becoming the fullest version of yourself, not in some far-off future, but in every single moment. The Overman lives in constant becoming, constantly evolving, constantly creating. You, too, can live this way. But first, you must take that step into the unknown and embrace the chaos. The ultimate truth is this: you are the creator of your own life, and once you realize that, the world will never again be the same. Are you ready to begin?